Right, let's recap. In 2023, we went to 28 different countries. And of those countries, we climbed 22 of the tallest peaks.
Ready, boys? Before death.
We also managed to climb a volcano as well as run a marathon. But when we finally got to take a step back and look at all the footage and remember all the adventures we went on together, the thing that stood out to us the most was the people. When you're getting ready to travel, I don't think you really ever think about what kind of people am I going to meet. You're going to think about what adventures are we going on, what hotels are we staying at, what food are we going to eat. But as soon as we arrived in Europe, the locals made an impression.
Hello. Bye. It's bride time!
If you watched our Croatia video, we talk about Marshall, the hat salesman, an older gentleman who sold these fantastic hats. He was looking for love.
Any ladies? No.
Any ladies?
Are you in Eastern Europe and looking for love? You don't have to looking for love, just for the pleasure.
Yeah.
Little did I know, Marshall was actually the father of one of the two gentlemen that we just had dinner with a few nights earlier. And we'd been hanging out with this Marshall guy for literally like 10 hours. And his son, who was nice enough to come and catch up for dinner, was probably spending an hour with us. And we thought it was quite ironic that we'd actually spend more time with the dad.
Someone that we haven't spoken about is the man on the bridge, who was, I wouldn't say it was a nice encounter, but it was an encounter. Red Bull were doing a film shoot. They'd hired a local man to dress up in the local attire from the time period and play the...
Is it a accordion? Accordion?
We had the translator from Red Bull explaining what he was saying to us, and he was saying...
He had like 76 women, like all addresses, everything down where he had them.
Let's not beat around the bush. He had a little black book of people that he'd slept with.
That book was quite thick.
And that he would stop by on his trucking journey. He would say things about like, if you have her heart and if you have her head, you'll have her legs on your shoulders. And all of us were just like, we should leave. And he's possibly got many children unaccounted for all through Europe.
We were on our way back to Vilnius, and when we were driving there, we saw a guy walking along the side of the road, and it looked like he was trying to wave us down. So we pull over and we get him in the car.
Where do you come from?
Unfortunately, he doesn't speak a word of English.
Paul, Jared, Decky, Michael.
Datras.
His name is Datras, and we're picking up. Say hi. Hello.
The next 25 minutes of driving back to Vilnius was a series of hand gestures, Google Translate, some of the funniest shit that we could just fathom going on. Because it was like, was he a fisherman? Was he just come across from the border from Belarus? Had he been from the war? We had no idea what was going on.
So your truck broke down. Machina. Locker.
You don't even get to have these stories if you don't put yourself out there a little bit and try and give yourself the opportunity to maybe help someone out and make a good story because of it. So once we got caught up with the boys who'd just been saved from the Swedish Coast Guard, for the next few days we spent a bit of time in Estonia, go through Latvia, down to Lithuania, and we got to see these beautiful peaks.
All right, so we're off to reach our 20th highest point, being in Estonia.
We gotta pump it. Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god. Wow. A lot of energy being exerted. We're almost there. This is the final push to the summit.
Estonia, number 20, before death.
Nah.
Double digits, guys. Nice work.
When we were in Latvia, Joe took us to a supermarket and was like showing us all the favorite foods to eat and what we should be eating from Latvian culture. That is just like the coolest shit to me.
Read this backwards. We're in Latvia now. Yay!
To the highest peak.
To the highest peak. Before death.
21! Woo! Woo! 21! Yeah!
As you can see from the excitement of Decky, we just hit number 21, highest peak of Latvia. We are one more away from being halfway through all the European peaks. We're gonna go, we're gonna do our hug.
Bring it over to Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh my God. This is so beautiful. We've come all this way to get there.
It's like a prison.
You should have kept walking. That was gonna be a great shot, Michael. Fuck! Michael's playing Pokemon. He's playing fucking Pokemon. They're both playing Pokemon.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 22, Lithuania. Holy shit! Wow. Before death.
Trip 2! Woo!
Yeah, Paul, come in. You just got to come here, Paul. Yeah, Paul's been away from home for so long that he's starting to change.
Yeah. I really like the new look he's going for.
I love it. I love Paul's new look.
I mean, Paul shaved his head before, but I really like this new goatee thing.
Yeah, it's good.
I like the accent too.
Me too. Anyway, we've finished our 22nd mountain. All 4 of us are so excited. We're so tired from the journey. What was your favorite part?
The mountains?
I loved the people.
I love sharing a bed with Michael.
So
Wait, I want to change mine.
Okay.
I like the long drives.
I like sleeping next to Jared and Decky in bed.
I liked all the food.
I like sleeping in the back of the car.
I like new Paul.
I like New Paul too.
Yeah.
We've got 4 more days in France before we get to go home.
We headed down to France, where I met one of my favorite locals. Her name was Barbara. One of the things that we didn't take into account was the fact that we didn't have accommodation for Jared and Decky. Twitch was nice enough to put myself and Michael up for accommodation.
We don't have a booking for Jared and Decky, and they're gonna sleep on the floor. Plan is, we've already checked in. Now we need to get them up to the room. The heist has begun. We've got a key for them.
Little did we know that when we got to the hotel, it was filled with security. Yeah, so you guys are security?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that because of TwitchCon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that because there's going to be riots, or? Michael and I are looking at each other like, this is going to be interesting.
That went down like a lead balloon.
Alright, so we've got a couple of problems. Firstly, they've got like 3 security guards on our floor. So the heist has gotten even more intense.
They have security guards on
3 of them, 24/7.
What kind of hotel is this?
They go upstairs. Now, Barbara was right on top of this. She chased Jared and Decky into the elevator because they didn't have their passes. She's like, we take you down to the lounge right now, get the passes. Jared and Decky are like, yeah, sure. And then they literally press the elevator button and they sprinted out of the hotel.
They're onto us.
They are onto us.
And we have to get our badges to be able to get access to the floor of the hotel.
Yeah, this heist is becoming interesting.
It's actually
It's very difficult.
But we don't actually know exactly what they're looking for. Is it just to have the badge that you come in on? Or do they need to have this VIP sticker to come to the hotel? Because they have these badges, that's not a problem. It's the fact that we don't know if they need the VIP sticker thing to come into the actual thing.
And they were paranoid. They were like, we're not going to be able to get back in the hotel. And I was like, don't worry about it. Michael and I, we've got this. What did Michael and I do? Operation Chocolate and Candy. So down in the actual VIP lounge, there was like chocolate milk, there was strawberry milk, there was chocolate bars, Snickers and Mars bars. So what we did was every single time we went in the hotel, 3 times a day for all the rotations, we dropped off for every single one of the security guards a chocolate bar, a pack of chips, a soft drink, and Jared and Decky were with us every time. By day 2, these guys were like, they loved us, including Barbara. So then Jared and Decky could just walk around with us no problem because like, hey, we're the guys that give them free food. Jared and Decky could walk in, no problems, and it was all well and good. Until the last day, we hear a knock on the door. And we're like, uh-oh, Jared and Decky are in here, the beds are on the floor. Open the door, it's Barbara. And we're like, fuck, we're busted. They know, something's going on. We are in trouble. And Barbara's there, smiling ear to ear.
All right, so the plot has thickened. The heist has now become
A love story.
and a robbery. So the security guards have brought us a present because we've been so nice to them.
So I don't think they realise that we've been taking free stuff from downstairs and bringing it to them as a gift to bribe them. And the lady was like, no, we have to pay for it. We have to pay for it. She's gone out and bought fucking Toblerones and thing, and now we're like...
We've been like stowing away like criminals on the floor, and now she's giving us all these chocolates and all that. What goes to say is if you're gonna con a company and try and get free accommodation with your mates, go all in. Give as much love as you can to the security guards, and it will only come back in a nicer and a sweeter way with French chocolates.
The locals were just incredibly generous, incredibly kind, always wanting to show off their country and just give a helping hand when they could. From waiters, barbers to restaurant owners, hotel owners. But there was one local that kind of set up the whole theme for us on the first trip, and that was Martin.
The one person on this trip that we referred to more than anyone.
If you watched our Albania video, it was a tour guide who showed us around, was giving us all his opinions about religion, the government, but then he found out what we were trying to achieve, which was climb the tallest peaks in Europe.
And he straight up looked at me up and down and was like, "You're not making it."
This time of the year, you guys aren't special forces. Him kind of doubting us kind of set the theme up for the whole first trip. We're about to climb our first mountain. This local tour guide doesn't think we're going to do it. We're going to prove him wrong. As we all know,
we didn't make it.
We failed our first attempt of that mountain. At the end of our first trip, we'd been on this full journey of triumphs and failures and successes as a group together. So when we climbed that mountain again, it was so much more of an achievement to us because we'd been through so much together. And I think without Martin kind of doubting us and being a character at the start of this trip, it wouldn't have been as satisfying.
It did actually add to the reward of getting to the highest point of that country because it was a beautiful mountain to climb. It was honestly up there as our favorite.
When you're traveling, you don't expect locals to have such an impact on how the journey is going to go. Now for us, it's a bit different. We were traveling with Paul. Paul is Pestily and he has fans around the world. There was a lot of people in Europe that actually offered up their homes to us.
Now Moxie is a friend of mine from the Netherlands who was generous enough to let us sleep at her house.
She opens up her home for 2 days in the Netherlands, shows us around, lets Paul try weed in his backyard for the first time and feeds us accordingly, takes us to a sex museum, like every good host should do.
We got the opportunity to speak to one of our Patreon members, Perfecta, kind of just said, "Hey, can we stay at your place?" And he's like, I'll check with my girlfriend. And next minute, we've got his address.
In Hungary, as soon as we walked into his 1-bedroom apartment, which he'd offered up to us, straight away, gets the alcohol out, starts giving us drinks. We go out for dinner, we eat some of the most strange food.
Hungarian rooster testicle.
We had Lasagna Queen, a lady who'd just given birth 7 days prior, opened up her whole glamping business to us and gave us 2 of her tents for free and then cooked us an incredible meal.
Eating some beautiful lasagna and having such a warm welcome, it was just next level. It was literally what we needed.
One of the people that housed us for one of the nights that stood out to all of us was the fellas from Norway.
So we had Torb, Tom, Kenneth, and Christian.
What was really interesting is that they were all friends online, but some of them had never met. And when we met them, it was the first time they'd met each other as well.
And they took us out and we just had an amazing time fishing, hanging with the boys, drinking beers, grilling up deer steaks.
It was like hanging out with mates. Pretty sure Michael and Jared might have got naked at some point and jumped in the water.
And I kept having to like stop and, they say like pinch yourself. But I had to stop and keep being like, do you realize what's going on right now? You're in Norway with a bunch of Norwegians that none of us knew until a couple of hours ago, on a boat fishing. This is one of the coolest experiences of my life.
Who the hell does that kind of stuff? And that was us.
And this is one of those things you have to like really take yourself, stop and like take in the moment. It was such a good experience and the guys were so welcoming.
And then they got us drunk. There was a theme in Europe.
Every country, they always say, no one drinks like us. And the only country we really didn't hear that about is Norway. And that's where we all got the most fucked up.
Like the stuff that the Norway guys were drinking, like pretty sure it's illegal. It will strip paint.
And definitely the funnest day I've had on the trip, that's for sure.
I know for one of the funniest stories comes from someone that came out specifically to see Decky, and that was Eddie McBram.
Eddie McBram.
It was Eddie McBram.
Eddie McBram.
Oh, Eddie McBram. I don't know how to describe his presence.
Good energy, positive vibes.
That guy's insane.
He's always sweaty.
There's a lot of movement. He's always doing something.
He's ready to go.
That guy is going.
He's prepared for anything.
No matter what's going on, something's happening. I already know this is going.
Tell me about the boat incident.
Have we talked about the McChickens yet?
Fuck. I can be a very stubborn individual, but there's certain things that I'm helpless to. And I learned that McDonald's has a product called the McSpicy. Delicious. I have been indulging the McSpicy more than I should. Something that McDonald's puts into the McSpicy to make it spicy does not agree with the human body. Once you consume the McSpicy, it is a fantastic experience, but within 15 minutes, you will realize that you've made a mistake. And that mistake stays with you more than just the initial exiting of the McSpicy, depending on how many you consume. And I usually consume 3 at a time. It's the Wales meetup. Everybody's at a pub. I was like, Jared, I should not get the McSpicy. He's all like, yeah, no. And I was like, but I'm gonna get the McSpicy. So like, I knew it was a poor choice at the time because that was not my first experience with the McSpicy's. It was like my fourth. And I just keep going back. We're at the meetup and I definitely felt a rumble, something going on. And it wasn't the time or place to deal with it. So, you know, just keep doing my thing. Everything's fine. While we were at that pub, things really started brewing in my stomach and a lot more time passed. And at this part, it was becoming very much a uncomfortable situation for me to continue sitting and being there. So we finally are starting to wrap up and I realized like things are bad.
We're heading back to the car. Eddie was gonna give us a ride home. Decky sounds the emergency alarm.
Eddie, I'm not gonna make it. Something had come up that Eddie had been like, I have wet wipes in my car. I was like, Eddie, I need those wet wipes. It shows such passion from him because he is all like, my boy is about to shit his pants and I need to be there for him. I've never seen somebody rip apart and tear apart their car so frantically as he did trying to find those wet wipes. But the problem is he couldn't find them fast enough.
Eddie, I need them now. There's no time. I need them now.
And he's all like, I know they're in here somewhere. I just saw them. I know they're in here somewhere. And I'm like, Eddie, I'm about to be everywhere. And it came to the point I said, Eddie, I can't do it, man. I'm going. I just start sprinting towards the canal. And I just remember shoving my pants down, grabbing that chain link fence, and I just lean back just to let it out over the water. And I expel everything. In the middle of that, I hear Eddie like, I found him. And so he's running over. I'm like, Eddie, I'm shitting out my fucking brains right now. And so he's running over. He's like, hey, here, I got the wet wipes. And I was like, oh my God, thanks. I get done and I use the wet wipes. Thank you, Eddie. And I turn around and I look down and I see that I had not expelled my guts just into the water, but when the tide came back in and one of the boats had floated directly to the edge, I had apparently proceeded to explosively shit all over somebody's boat. And without Eddie McBram, I don't know what I've done to clean up, but Eddie is always prepared. Man, I love Eddie McBram.
It's definitely my most memorable experience.
The amount of people that came out to community meetups.
People went ages to come and meet us.
They were just wild. Everyone was buying us drinks. Everyone was trying to split the G. People were just generous. Every single country, people coming out, people excited to meet us.
There was a couple in the UK, Leah and Ben, who spent, I think, 3 hours in train delays in London just to meet us at the end of the catch-up. Honestly, it was just like some people had gone literally across countries to see us.
And it was a really rewarding experience to be able to meet the guys from my community.
Thank you so much for everyone who went out of their way, come say hello, to get a photo or just tell us your stories. And some people were generous enough to give gifts.
We had people coming out and climbing mountains with us. We had Jono, who was a young fella who was shy, but when you climbed this mountain with him and talked with him, you found yourself inspired. We had Spanish John, who took time off work, arrived at 4 in to climb a mountain with us. We had Retro Chameleon. We left without him. He still came up the mountain. If you've watched our video in Ireland, it was a gentleman named Warren who was the age of 53, came and climbed the mountain with us. And when I ran the marathon, I remember going through incredibly bad cramps. Warren was going through those exact same cramps.
Whoop. You all right? Thank you, Tom.
I don't think I was inspiring at all for Warren. I think I was just annoying. I had my phone in his face and I was just like, tell me how you're feeling. Poor old Warren's just like, I'm dying. Please get the phone out of my face.
It was great to see someone push their comfort zone, do something, a lot of people at that age, they might think, any kind of physical challenge, not what I'm doing, I'm not gonna push my limits. But it's really cool to see someone go out of their way to do something they know is gonna be really challenging.
To see how much it meant to Warren and to see how emotional he got, that's a moment that will stick with me. And I was able to share that with him as well. If you've watched our 3 Peaks Challenge, there was a whole group of people that came out to climb this final mountain with us, but there was a group of 4 lads that had been mates for quite a long time. There was Slacky Chan, Chop, Lucky Kieran, and Matty. I was talking with Matt and Kieran, and Matty just opened up to me about some of the childhood trauma that he'd had in his life. When you first meet people, you never know what someone's going through, where they have been or what trials or what trauma they've had. And when Matt opened up and talked to me about this, I looked over at Kieran and I could see tears in his eyes. I remember afterwards, after Matt had opened up to me, I said to Kieran, I'm like, had Matt ever told you about any of this? And he said, no, he didn't know. And it was honestly a beautiful moment for me that these guys had known each other for so long, and to see 2 friends to be vulnerably open with each other. If these guys hadn't, stepped back from their computers and gone on some crazy adventure together, even just gone for a hike, like just something as simple as a hike, had created a moment where there was so much vulnerability and so much openness. To share that moment with Maddie and Kieran was something that will stand out with me for the rest of my life. I think the point of this content is to inspire people to get out there, not just with friends, but to go out and meet new people, go out and create human connection. We're so connected now with social media and everything online, but to be honest, there's this big void where people are struggling with, where they're lacking that human connection. I think if you do get an opportunity to reach out to your friends who are online who you've never met and they're close by, or even family members or just old school friends, just reach out to someone and just try something different. Go on a hike, go for a run, go for a walk, go to an art museum, go skinny dip in an ocean. Experience something new with someone. You'll grow so much more as a person. Life is a lot better with people.
Thank you so much for being a part of our journey and our story, and just making us feel very loved and welcome in your country. So, like, one final time, thank you.